Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
And welcome back, everybody. He has his finger on the pulse of safety when it comes to transportation, specifically motor carriers, whether it's an 18-wheeler, whether it's a tanker transporting some type of fuel, whatever it might be. Safety First with Matt Freeman. Matt is the man behind the company that works with these motor carriers to ensure that they are safe, provide training, inspection, and all of that. And he's back with us. Matt, how you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Steve. I believe it's Tuesday and we've got a whole week ahead of us. So, let's see what happens here.
Yeah. And we were going to dig into the different safety protocols. We've been talking about that over the last few weeks.
Mhm.
But we're going to start with a story that's trending right now. Tell us about this one.
Yeah, I came across this story. It's come out, I guess, last day or two now. I received it this morning. Very interesting. We've talked a lot about uh, bumper protection, rear end protection, undercarriage protection throughout the last few weeks, off and on, just because of different things have come up. The article I've seen here is about a trucking company who was hauling a Wabash National trailer. This is in a big article here in a trucking magazine, um, where 10 years ago, let me get it exact here. We are looking at, oh, I just had it on my fingertips. Looks like it was about 10 years ago now, a
Hmm.
crash,
Wow.
uh, with two people involved, both died, and they hit full speed, traffic speed, the rear end of the trailer, killed them both instantly. Um, one of the gentlemen who was driving was intoxicated. It was verified. So that was put out as well during the incident. They were in a Volkswagen sedan. This happened in 2019. Sorry, let me correct myself here. Um, but they sued the uh, manufacturing company for basically not having a good enough rear end protection, saying it could have been better. Well, this was a over 10-year, decade old trailer already. So safety features improve every year. So my question is, and my argument with this is, how can they say something that was over a decade old and it was not with all the new improvements and be held accountable for something when someone went full speed into the back of a trailer? Um, I understand everybody today, there's reasons to sue and there's reasons not to sue. Um, but my concern is that every time someone hits the back of a trailer or a trucking company's truck, trailer, vehicle, whatever it is, that it's reason to sue. And these guys are out there doing everything they can for safety. I've been on both sides of the house.
Sure.
I've been on the side of the enforcement, where I'm looking at the trucks, making sure they are safe. Now I'm on this side of it, looking at the safety, making sure they're being safe. So when they are stopped or in trouble, that, they're in compliance.
Hmm.
So what the court did here, I, I understand that, again, everybody wants a settlement or something. And it's very sad that two people died in this incident. But whenever you have a vehicle that flies full speed or highway speed, I don't know what the speed was, highway speed into the back of a trailer, um, that's, I don't know how any bumper would prevent uh, something tragically, to happen.
Very interesting. Because when we first started talking about this today, I was viewing it as it was the motor carrier's fault. Then I realized that the Volkswagen, with the two people in it, going down the road, even if they were doing highway speed, they slammed into the back of this rig. It was a construction zone, and the
What?
driver was intoxicated, all proven,
Mhm.
and now it's a $500 million judgment from the jury for I guess the motor carrier, uh, for not having a safe enough rig for that vehicle to slam into.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That yeah, I understand, and the underwrite protection is such a big thing right now. We've had, like I said, we've had a lot of great discussions on it. It keeps coming up.
Sure.
Are they looking at doing more? They're always looking at, making things safer. Uh, but the preventability, I don't think that will ever change. I think you can have a cage all the way around that truck or trailer, and if someone's coming full speed in it, yeah, it's gonna prevent some of the damage, sure, but that doesn't always going to guarantee a life. Uh, and something like that. As
Sure.
much as this is a subject I don't like talking about, but it is something you're hearing about stuff like this more frequently. Um, Now,
Yeah.
if the truck would have backed up, or you'd seen if there was something identifying how the truck was at truly at fault when the truck wasn't at fault. Trucking companies out of business now.
Mm.
Um, you know, so
And we feel for the family, understandably. Uh, Going to add, because this is all public record and proven, the two occupants of the Volkswagen weren't wearing seatbelts. And
no.
I'm just going to throw hypothetically out here that the Volkswagen, let's say, hit a tree. Why wasn't there padding on that tree? That tree is at fault now for the accident. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Like I don't think anything, I'm on your page here. I don't think anything could have been done to change this outcome. And didn't we talk about this in a podcast 3, 4 or so weeks ago
Yes.
about, um, I don't know what it's called, but when there's a collision and there's something recently changed, didn't it?
Yeah. So what they're looking at doing, now they're enforcing that uh all the bumpers are required to have the markings required showing it's been tested at the appropriate impact.
Sure.
So that's the big change, that you can't just go throw a bumper up on there. It's got to be an approved DOT bumper, in sense. So yes, we did talk about that because now that is being more enforced because it is on their annual inspections. It's always been in the regulations, but it's being more enforced now. So that's something they are required to check and make sure that they do have the appropriate bumper on the back of these, because these bumpers are tested and they have to withstand so much. Um,
Sure.
like if it's a hazmat truck and you're looking at the bumper, it's got to be tested at 2G force, as an example. And then that's on a tanker, okay, or a cargo tank. And then on a regular rig or trailer, they're tested at the requirements. And every year, they're constantly looking at different things to make things better. But I don't know how ever um, something at a forceful speed can prevent um, a non fatality or bad accident in this situation.
Sure. And would it be any different if they were wearing seatbelts and alcohol wasn't involved? Again, toxology reports show that the driver was,
Yes.
without a doubt, intoxicated. Um, would that even make a difference in this verdict? Um,
I you know I, I can't say. I've seen
yeah,
some, and the reason I say that, I have seen some miracle things happen where you would have thought that no one would have survived, and they did. Um, I not seeing the actual report, just reading the article that we're looking at now and just bringing up the topic. It could have been anything, but um, I think I would guess statistically, and I'm just making a guess here, that most head-on collisions uh, aren't always survivable crashes. So, but
Hmm.
I'm just kind of making a guess there. I don't want to say anything for
Yeah.
sure. For
Yeah. It's a tough one because there was a loss of life, but ultimately, who's responsible for that? That's what the award here is for.
hmm
It doesn't seem, and I'm flying the plane over the
hmm
bleachers here, kind of looking down. It doesn't seem like there's any responsibility on the driver and the passenger not wearing seatbelts, intoxicated. Um, it seems like all the fault is going on the trucking company for allegedly a back end of a rig that didn't meet standards. But is it because it was old? And this is a let's just say this is a brand new trailer. Just rolled it right off the truck, and they started working, in that construction zone. Would that be any different in this judgment?
I don't think it would be. That's just, then again, that's just an opinion. Um, at a highway speeds, at something that I near stopped, you know, rear end impact. Um, you know, I don't see how that could have prevented anything different than
Yeah,
what came out here. I don't know. Again, this is just coming from professional opinion from my past. So,
sure.
if I've anything may have ever seen on accident reports. Um,
And we're not in the courtroom, so there may have been little pieces of information we're unaware of. We're just
sh-
taking it for the news report
sure,
face value. But
sure.
all that being said, is the award because the vehicle was 10 years old, the trailer was 10 years old? Is that what this is all about?
It's about that it was over a decade. The trailer's over a decade old. Improvements have there's been many improvements within the years. So it's an old trailer, an old bumper. It may not have the impact that the new ones have. I don't know
Hmm.
what was on it. It doesn't say. It just
Right,
says
right.
the trailer's over a decade old. So there's a lot of things that's changed, in the last several years. So, um,
But what I'm detecting from you, Matt, is based on your knowledge of those changes, even if this rig was brand new, the latest, safety technology, if you want to call it that, it probably wouldn't have made a difference with
I
a
don't
with a
think it'd been
vehicle,
preventable.
easily the speed limit, everything that we're mentioning here, slamming into the back. The outcome, we don't know. Probably would have been the same based on what I'm hearing. It's not like the difference between 10 years and now magically changed, where it's a pillow. It's a complete difference.
Yeah, if this was the same situation today, I agree. I don't think this could have been preventable. At least the collision part. Now, the life, I don't know. Uh, you know, I don't know if that would have changed the life of the two individuals, or not. I guess you would hope so with technology today versus what it was over a decade ago. But I don't think any of this would have been preventable,
Hmm.
um, whatsoever.
Well, we intended to talk about safety today, and this, yeah, updated report comes in. It's under the safety umbrella. What developments have been made, even in the last 5 or 10 years, that stand out in your mind in terms of, I don't even want to call them improvements, changes in terms of safety with vehicles? Have there been a lot really to talk about?
No, not really. I mean, they're always, you know, looking at the regulations and what can they improve. Okay, that's an ongoing battle. Because there's so many regulations. As I've showed you, just in the regulation book here, you see how thick that is. That's just the
Wow.
safety regulations. The hazmat regulations is just as thick, if not thicker.
Wow.
So they're constantly looking at things. You have NHTSA, National Highway Transportation Safety Institute. They're the ones that put out all the regulations for your everyday vehicles. all your Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, your FMVSS regulations. Those are everything, that's saying, hey, the bumper's got to be X thickness, it's got to be so long, so wide, so high, all those things. They are constantly looking at that stuff. Of course, no one ever wants to see anybody get rear-ended or vice versa, and have something happen. But there's preventable things and there's non-preventable. And I think that just from what I've read and what I've seen, the most they're doing now is the enforcement side, making sure the stickers, everybody's meeting, having the right bumpers on there. They are talking about more underguard to go all the way around the trailers. Is that necessary? It's a matter of opinion. Is it a larger expense to the carriers to have to do that? And it make a difference? It is. So I see both sides of it.
Hmm.
I pull the Gemini card. I weigh things both ways. I see a safety side and I see an expense side, and which one weighs over the other? I can't give an honest answer on that one. I don't know. Uh, I think the more and more of these kind of lawsuits and things that come out, you're going to see more and more focus, obviously, on that undercarriage, which is part of the rear impact guards and bumpers. That's my strong feeling about it, and I would assume that a lot of folks in my position and even on the enforcement side would probably agree with that, because it is becoming a big topic.
Hmm.
The other topic is the split bumpers. So that's been a topic for a while.
What's split bumpers?
A split bumper for rear end protection. It's like on cargo tanks, because if they have the piping coming out of the back of the tank, you'll have a split bumper, so the piping can come out, but it has to be set so far back. The bumper has to be so wide, and the gap can only be too close or too far apart from each other. So that's split bumper, and you'll see that a lot in the cargo tanks. But and they're constantly looking at this. I'm always trying to pull data for my customers, and anytime I go look at any of my customers, so first thing I'd go do when I'm looking at a trailer, if I'm behind it, even if I'm just standing there having a conversation, I have a tendency to go walk behind, make sure the bumper's good. I mean, it's just a habit now. You're looking for those markings, those stickers, those tags saying, "Hey, this meets the requirements." Um, I've seen in the past people take a couple 2x4s, put them together, throw them, slap on some steel, and put them back there. I mean, I've seen some crazy things throughout the years.
Wow.
But once standards started coming into play and enforcement, they start looking at that. So it just different times, but that shouldn't neglect safety. Safety should always be first, always.
And in terms of the inspections, we talked about that a few times over the last number of podcasts. Has that changed? Let's say, 10 years ago. Is it more frequent? Are there more surprise inspections going on the roads now?
I don't think it's changed.
Hmm.
I think that, well, what I mean is you're still going to have safety investigators out there. You're still going to have roadside inspectors out there. They're still going to have special task force, special weeks that come up that we've talked about, a couple of different ones, that they're going to be focusing on certain things. What happens is when you start seeing incidents happen, obviously that's going to give it a more push of focusing on whatever those action items are. So I think safety is only going to get stronger out there, especially with things like this. And so my important job is to make sure my customers, are in compliance, are focusing on that,
Hmm.
and I'm keeping them up to date on, and not only my customers, I want everybody to be safe, and I want to see anybody I talk to make sure, hey, if you didn't know, do a double check. Hey, do that quick little walk around, whatever it takes file that paperwork that's required, you know, because that one little piece, it's that trickle effect. Is it going to roll up? Is it going to roll down? It, really, and that's the way I look at safety.
Mm.
Um,
Do you feel that this $500 million judgment in this situation where it is both sides. Some look at it and say, come on, they were intoxicated, no seatbelts, slammed into a back of a vehicle in a construction zone. Some could say, I don't know all the story here. Should have slowed down, et cetera, et cetera. Others will look at it and say, well, that bumper should have been able to support that impact, whatever. Um, do you think this is going to be somewhat of a game changer in the industry, looking at this, huge number?
oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mm,
Uh, Wabash is a top-notch trailer company. They are known to build really good equipment. So, and amongst other companies out there that I work with, there's a lot of great trailer companies out there. This was talking about Wabash. Their trailers are well known. Um, but a
mm.
$500 million, that's a hit on anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, that's just, I got that this morning and I just kind of stared at that number for a while. I'm still only imagine the hit that this company is going to take. Um, I don't know what to do to them. I don't know what kind of heavy pockets, these companies have. I don't get involved with that. I worry about the safety. It's not my business how much pockets you have.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
you know, could this make a difference and have them look at things a little differently? I would have to say probably yes. Just for the satisfaction of the people,
Even at
you
face
know.
value, again, we're not in the courtroom. We don't have all the deeper details. This is just a two-paragraph news report that's out on many different news outlets. It seems excessive. It seems excessive in terms of the amount. If they wanted to award, how much is enough? Um, again, there is some driver fault here. I have to. That's my personal opinion. It's
Yeah.
again not all, but the details stand true. Intoxication, no seatbelts, construction zone. Yeah, and from your professional opinion, I'm taking, all of this in as the, a bystander like the rest of us viewing
Mhm.
or listening. We you're saying that it wouldn't have made that much of a difference, whether the trailer was 10 years old, whether it just rolled off the showroom floor. An impact is at that velocity and everything involved. The outcome's probably going to be the same.
Yeah. We don't
Probably.
know,
We don't know.
possibly. I don't see any circumstances changes. You know, with the suits and things, the craziest one I've ever seen, and everybody goes for the big pockets. It's known after. It's not uncommon to say
Sure.
that uh, the craziest one I saw was a car was coming up on a quick stop. Didn't see it. There was a rig sitting there. It was my customer's rig. He misses the rig because the car was going too fast. Turns to the right, hits the curb, runs into actually it was their office, someone I know, their office, hits the outside of the building. They turned the driver of the car sued the people who owned the building because it was in the way. Now I'm throwing that out there as in the way, but they did. It wasn't, but yeah. So guess who had to go through a lawsuit because a vehicle swerved to miss a truck that was just sitting at a stoplight and hit their building and sued them because the building was there or they hit the building.
I have no
That's the
words.
craziest one.
Definitely
That was
did.
the craziest one I ever heard.
Yeah,
I
and that
I
doesn't
do
even
not
just
remember. Yeah, and I don't remember how it came out, but I just remember they sued the people who own that building.
even if you factor out the your connection to motor carriers, that's crazy in itself. It's just, I guess it can't hurt to try. All this litigious society that we're in. Hey, let's throw it out there, see what happens, see if it sticks. $500 million later, there we go. Wow. Uh,
Yeah.
it's lots to think about here. Matt, your website is dottrainingsolutions.com. You're available for any motor carrier, especially in the society we're in. You don't want to take a chance in terms of safety and all the regulations, inspections, and all of that. So you're there as a resource for all of us. And appreciate you being here today. Love talking with you and learn so much about what's going on out there. And today's another one of those days.
Yes, it is. And thanks again for having me here, Steve. And yeah, safety first, guys. Safety
Yep.
first.
All right, Matt. We'll catch up soon. Thanks a lot.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back.
Are you looking for even more of the podcasts and hosts that you love? The Podcast Business News Network is proud to announce that you now have even more ways to listen live. Check out the MyTuner Radio, online radio box, and Simple Radio apps on iOS and Android, or find us online. Search for Business News Network on mytuner-radio.com, or search Podcast Business News Network on streama.com and onlineradiobox.com/US. Take your podcast on the go and don't miss a minute of the action.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house. And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.